second period had no trouble getting today's assignment completed with plenty of time. As long as you're working hard, it should be super easy. Today is the 19th. I have 2 comments. Number 1, I'm missing a calculator. So if you happen to borrow one of my calculators, I am missing mine. It's a school calculator. It's barcoded. Please give that back if you accidentally used it and forgot to give it back. I understand. It's fine. Second, I wanted to make sure that you all know I am still posting extra credit. I am not sending out an email. It's your job to find those extra credit things. When you go to the class website in Student View, it's the little icon with the chalkboard with ABC written on it and a little human head there. When you click on class website and change to Good Now, there's a drop-down menu for Good Now. There are 2 places that I post. And on the right side of the page, there's 3 options for where I can post things in the class website, okay? One is classroom documents. And the classroom docs is where I post every day. That's where I post the daily notes, the recorded video, all the homework pages, that sort of stuff. That's what we do every single day. The other place is announcements. M-E-N-T, announcements. M-E-N-T. Okay, so when that's on the right-hand side, those are the 2 places that I post. And announcements is where the extra credit is posted. That's extra credit you can do each weekend and turn in on Monday, okay? Classroom docs is where our lessons and that stuff, daily stuff goes. Announcements is the other. I will send that out in an email, but you should know there's 2 places, okay? If your phone, if you can't, pinch it to shrink the screen so that you can see this right-hand side where this thing is, know that you can turn your phone to the landscape orientation, and then you'll be able to see those 2 choices there. So keep that in mind. This had a special name. What was this called? Does anyone remember? Grace. Binomial. Very good. So this was a binomial, 2 terms times 2 terms. Binomial times binomial. And we want to go ahead and multiply those together. What do we need to do? Wish I had a soundboard with crickets, the cricket sound effect. Like in a radio station. Yes, sir, Ryan. Distribute. Yeah, it is just distributing. I'm going to take the 2x and multiply it to both terms in the other bubble, what I love to call bubbles. We do 2x times 2x and get what? 4x squared. And then we do 2x times 3 and get 6x. Now, we're going to go ahead and distribute the other term as well. This -4, we distribute. We get -4 times 2x, which is -8x. And -4 times 3, which is -12. And then the last thing is just to combine like terms. Because there should be some like terms there. 4x squared, positive 6x, and -8x is -2x, and then the -12 remains. So this is our product, the result of multiplying. Now, yesterday I mentioned the word FOIL. And FOIL is the sort of mnemonic device that we can use only when we multiply binomials together, binomial times binomial. FOIL the F stands for first times first. So in those binomials, the first term times the first term, and that's what the F stands for. O stands for the outside. First times first. The outer, O-U-T-E-R, the outer term. So when you look at, these are the 2 outside terms. Outside times outside. Okay. I stands for inner. term, so the two terms that are closest together, okay, inside terms multiplied together. And then L stands for last times last. So the last term in the bubble times the last term in the bubble. And so first, outside, inside, last is, or FOIL, is the pattern that we use to multiply. And whether or not you use FOIL or whether you distribute, it doesn't matter. They are the same thing. But I wanted you to know what that acronym stood for. What do we need to do on number 2? Write it out twice. That power of 2 says repeat that bubble 2 times. So we have x minus 3 times x minus 3. And now it's just the same as what we did before. And so we're going to do first times first. What is x times x? And then the outside, the outer pair, x times negative 3 gives you negative 3x. And the inside pair, negative 3 times x, negative 3x. And last times last, negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. And so again, we can just combine like terms. X squared, a negative 3x and a negative 3x is a negative 6x plus 9. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, we are doing the exact same thing today. Okay? Just more practice multiplying. It's super important that you are super good at this. Okay? We are learning to multiply 2 binomials together to get this product. And then starting like tomorrow, we are undoing that. We're starting here and going backwards, okay? So it's really important that you can do it this way correctly. Really, really good, okay? You should also know that you have one more test before the quarter on this stuff. All right. This is it for today, and then I'll pass out the worksheet. So find each product. We are just multiplying or distributing. But today we're looking at special patterns, okay? For instance, letter A here, 7 minus 4x times the quantity 7 plus 4x. What do you notice about those bubbles? What do you notice? They look pretty similar, right? Are they exactly the same? No. What's different? Yeah, the signs. One is negative and one is a plus. Okay. This is called the sum and difference pattern, where the numbers sort of match, but they have one is positive and one has a negative. Okay. Let's see what happens. The process is the same. I'm going to distribute 7 times 7 and get 49. Then the outer product, 7 times positive 4x is positive 28. 7 times 4 is 28x. And then I need to distribute my negative 4x. Remember, take the sign with it. So we have negative 4x times 7. What's negative 4x times 7? Negative 28x. And then negative 4x times positive 4x. What's negative 4x times positive 4x? Negative 16. X to what power? X squared. X times x is x squared. Very good. So now when you combine like terms, we have a 49, we have a positive 28x and a negative 28x. What happens? 0. Positive 28, negative 28 go away, and we're left with negative 16x squared. Interesting. That middle term cancels out. Okay? Huh. Curious. Is this a similar thing? Is it the sum and difference pattern again? Yeah, it is. We have a first thing and the last thing look the same, but the sign is positive and one is negative. So this is also the sum and difference pattern. Perhaps if you do enough of these, you'll realize there's a pattern and a shortcut. Okay? Perhaps. I'm not going to tell you what the shortcut is, but maybe you can figure it out yourself and do the worksheet in half the time. Okay? So think about that. I am going to multiply negative m times negative m. What's negative m times negative m? Positive m squared. Good. M times m is m squared. Negative m times negative 3n. Kind of a weird one. Negative times negative is positive. And none of these can consolidate at all. So it's just a 3 times m times n. Now I'm going to distribute or do the inside times inside, the I term. Positive 3n times negative m is negative 3mn. Good. And if you wrote like negative 3nm, that's the same thing. The order of those letters really doesn't matter because it's all being multiplied. So that's 4 times 5 is the same as 5 times 4. It doesn't matter how you write them. They're the same. All right, and then we have positive 3n times negative 3n. What does that give you? Negative 9n to what power? N squared. N times n is n squared. Good. So what happens when we combine like terms here? It cancels out. Yeah, that positive 3mn and negative 3mn goes away. And we're left with m squared minus 9n squared. Okay. Curious. All right. C and D. What do we need to do on letter C? Repeat. Yeah, we have a power of 2, which means we need to repeat the base 2 times. So I'm going to write it out 2 times, negative 2x minus 5y, and write it again, negative 2x minus 5y. Repeat that base 2 times, and now we can do basically the exact same thing. We are, is this the sum and difference pattern we were just doing? No, it is not. Okay? It's not this sum and difference pattern because the signs are the same. They aren't one positive and one negative. Okay? So they don't change exactly the same. This is a different pattern. Maybe you can figure out the shortcut for the pattern, but I'm not going to tell you. All right. Negative 2x times negative 2x gives you or positive 4x squared. Negative 2x times negative 5y. Good. Positive 10 with an x and a y. We have now the inside, negative 5y and negative 2x. I'm multiplying. Negative 5y times negative 2x is positive 10xy. And then last times last, negative 5y times negative 5y is positive 25y squared. Good. So now when we combine like terms, what happens in the middle? They combine. Do they cancel out this time? No, they do not. They double. 4x squared, 10xy and 10xy makes 20xy plus 25y squared. So, Okay, good question. So when we multiply x times x, x times x, that's x to the first times x to the first. These have the same base, and what are we allowed to do with the exponents? Add the exponents. When we multiply, okay, then the exponents are going to change. But because here we're just combining like terms, just adding really, then they stay the same. Okay. So exponents only change when you multiply. All right, same thing here. We have a power of 2, which means repeat that bubble. So 3x squared plus 4y squared. I'm going to repeat it again. 3x squared plus 4y squared. Write it out 2 times and distribute. FOIL. So let's do first times first. 3x squared times 3x squared is 9x to the 4th. Very good. 3x squared times 4y squared. Positive 12, x squared, y squared. They sort of all come together. Stick together with glue. Or styrofoam, God. We got a box and it had like a styrofoam, like it had a table inside, and so there was like a styrofoam like guard wrapped around that big of box, right? And my husband put it in the garbage, and then my 5-year-old went and was like, ooh, fun, and started like flaking the styrofoam. And so it got all these little styrofoam balls, which then, of course, like, you know, static clung to everything in the house. I was like, you were cleaning all of that. She spent like an hour. Yeah. All right. 4y squared times 3y x squared is 12x squared y squared. Oh, the point of the story was the x squared and the y squared are like the styrofoam balls, and they just stick together. Okay. Static cling. That was the point. Okay. Last times last. 4y squared times 4y squared is 16y to the 4th. All right, and then we have like terms here in the middle. 9x to the 4th. 12x squared y squared and 12x squared y squared are 24x squared y squareds plus 16y's to the 4th. All right, ladies and gentlemen, do you have questions for me? Again, there are patterns. There are shortcuts, and if you understand the pattern and can do the shortcut, good. Do it. I want you to do it as fast as you can, as easily as you can.